Battles rage in the northern city of Aleppo.
Europe's debt crisis weighs on global demand.
Homes damaged by massive flooding.
Thousands have been injured in Iran.
Mudslides have blocked roads in North Korea.
The state of the world today appears fragile. Our planet is in constant environmental peril. Economic chaos is threatening our livelihoods and those of our future generations. The effects of this instability are all too apparent on the global stage, as nations take up arms against one another. How have we got to this state? Is peace possible, or are we all heading towards an inevitable destruction? What steps should we take to avert potential disaster?
Heading for destruction. I guess you could say that.
It feels like the world's gone a bit crazy or a bit mad.
There's always conflicts going on.
The world has always had problems, whatever they may be.
We just see it on the news. It doesn't feel real. It kind of feels like a movie. If you turn on the news and you see wars in Syria or wars in the Arab countries and things.
The end of the world won't be very far.
I don't think it'll be destruction, but I think we've got a long way to go before we sort things out.
If people don't make the right decisions, then yes, of course, I think world destruction could come about.
It's people that are to blame.
In terms of global justice, well, everyone's got their own view on what justice is, and that's the problem.
I think we have to re-examine what we want.
If we have emotions that enable us to be more passionate towards one another, more respectful, and to love one another, even if they're not your brother or your sister, then we can truly act in a more loving way.
You will not be a believer until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. Sahih al-Bukhari.
I think there is compassion, but I think sometimes it looks like there isn't.
The world is losing sense of justice for humanity.
People have gone selfish now. You know, just money, money, money.
When food starts coming off of your table, that's the only time you're going to care.
I think on a global level, I think we could all do a lot more.
If you have faith in something, it doesn't matter what denomination, but you have faith. You have compassion and love for the rest.
We could do a lot to end a lot of the suffering and devastation that's happening in various countries.
What if we were to say, let's take all of these resources that we find that we're putting toward wars, toward bailing out companies, what if we use these immense resources to feed the poor, to get them jobs?
We need to care more, we need to not be so complacent.
You know, women could do lots.
Every single leader in the world has a mother, and they have a role to play in exactly how they are as a person.
And when he is in authority, he runs about in the land to create disorder in it, and destroy the crops and the progeny of man, and Allah loves not disorder. Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 206.
Leadership for any given place can definitely affect what's going on.
Leaders are people, and people, as we know, have got some flaws.
There's always been political problems.
There won't ever be peace in politics.
I think there's a lot of standing back and thinking about doing something rather than actually taking action.
Every government is looking after the interests of their own people.
Individual politicians should be spiritual themselves.
They need the compassion, they need to look at the wider world for us, really.
I think a lot of people are scared to be that first person to make that stand.
I think you've got to have a number of leaders, and but they need to learn to work together. Maybe we just need more women leaders.
By having one spiritual leader that can influence people and really touch people's hearts and guide people, then everybody would then come under the one banner.
I definitely think that religious leaders could be doing more to sort of encourage peace.
The things I've seen about religious leaders in the last couple of years, I think there is a lot of goodwill there to bring about peace.
I think religion's necessary.
I actually think religion sometimes is part of the problem rather than solution.
Clearly, religion is a source of conflict.
Maybe taking religion totally out of it and just using, the fact that we're all humans.
People say, oh, it's the fault of religion, everyone is fighting, but it's not.
Religion's there for structure. I would never say it's to be blamed.
Religion has a major role to play in helping solve the problems that we're facing in the world at the moment.
Kindness and compassion, nurturing our future generations, and electing leaders who have the interests of their followers at heart rather than their own is one way towards achieving peace. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah strengthen his hand, has advised world leaders as to what needs to be done. He has also warned of the dire consequences of not doing so.
It is not unlikely that disorder will continue to increase in the world, which will ultimately lead to a huge destruction. The effects of such devastation and warfare will surely last for many generations. In short, if we desire peace to be established in the world, then we must leave aside our personal and national interests for the greater good, and instead we must establish mutual relations that are based entirely on justice. Islam has drawn our attention to various means for peace. It requires absolute justice. It requires truthful testimony to always be given. It requires that our glances are not cast enviously in the direction of the wealth of others. And it requires that the developed nations put aside their own vested interests and instead help and serve the less developed and poorer nations with a truly selfless attitude and spirit.